Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the final game of the PCS for the night. It is week number 4. We are 3 weeks, including this one, away from getting towards the end of the split. My name is Hysterics. I'm joined by Mr. Clement Chu. Also, we are sponsored by CTBC Bank and Caliber. And we want to thank Bright Games, Carry, Liveco, Garena, and for all the work they do here towards the broadcast. I also want to thank Clement Chu, who also carries the show alongside Pirate and Nightstar. But Clement, if you guys don't know, is voted the most attractive man in the southern. Are you in the southern hemisphere? No,
we're actually, yeah. I'm sorry, man.
In the northern hemisphere.
If you think about it from Australia being on the top side, then maybe we're in the south. But as we go to game, we got Deep Cross Gaming versus Beyond Gaming. I had to rush into this one, and this is a fun matchup because last time they played, it was the longest game ever in the PCS, at least this split. And we got an Urgot plus a Jinx combo. So, really fun stuff coming in from these games. Always known for their creativity on one side. We'll be going over the special weapons and the sauce that Beyond Gaming has been bringing. But for DCG, what we've been seeing recently, strong standard games. They're not relying on the sort of kind of go crazy compositions anymore.
I've noticed.
Yesterday, we actually just saw some just very standard and good gameplay. They are continuing on to roll, and it's very possible they could bump into the top 2 spot after this.
I mean, it's amazing to me because you and I were discussing last time I was on show with you, this team might be relying on a strategy that, can either get out drafted or people start reacting to it. Of course, Smite Bard, you can't play anymore because we know that the support item solo lane got patched over, considering you can't have more than one support item in a team. It just isn't worth it. Clement, as we look at their opponents here today in Beyond Gaming, BYG are a team that a lot of global fans will know, but more importantly, a team that fans should know at the start of the split didn't really start super strong. 2-2, they took a loss to Deep Cross Gaming in their second week. They lost to Meta Falcon team, and there were a lot of concerns about this team kind of returning in.
And the big question has been, what champions do Minji play? And recently, I think they found a super weapon, which is Ahri. Minji currently over 3 games has a 23 KDA on the champion. Is absolutely disgusting. I think he's hands down the best Ahri that we've seen so far in the PCS. No real discussion. And that gives him an extra champion to play. So far, it's been Akali, Ahri, and Orianna on the must-ban list. And I think with the situations of Zeri's running around, he's going to get one of them.
Interesting, though, that we're doing a jungle comparison. Husha versus Hana. And as we look at the stats, they're similar in some regards. I think we need to kind of note how they play Clement because junglers have would you say a different role in the team, in comparison?
I actually feel like these are 2 of the closer junglers in that they are more early game active. If you look at the first blood participation rate, both of these are over 50%. So these guys are not your sort of defensive laner as well. We'll try to take over the top side while the bot side tries to get 2v2 kills. These guys are in the thick of things from the start of the game. And they do share a couple of similar comparisons. I feel like their champion pools are, for one, very similar. You do have both the Xin Zhao and the Lee Sin just kind of being the go-tos. Some of the junglers are not that, do not favor Lee Sin overall, but both of these definitely have the mechanics to pull it off. And in terms of the carry potential, it does look a little bit different as well. I feel like Hana has more of an engage role coming from DCG, but on the side of Beyond Gaming, because they just play 1-3-1, most of the time it's just kind of Liang and Minji doing the engage. So Husha, I think, is in that regard slightly more early game focused than Hana, that does have more of a utility role later on.
Now, I'm thinking both of these teams, you just mentioned the solo laners, both these teams have really good solo laners. For DCG, Nestea was at the heart of all those early game plays and how this team played it out when they had the Bard, of course. But, you know, even solo lanes, I feel like for Deep Cross Gaming, like Leaky has been a big part. Like he's been a really solid top laner. Yeah. And you can honestly say that about Liang. Liang's been a great top laner for this team too.
Yeah, they really bring different flavors. I think Megabank Beyond Gaming are much more limited in terms of their scope, but they have a very high ceiling for mastery. As you can see in Liang's, Tryndamere has been almost a must-ban coming against Beyond Gaming. On the other hand, Leaky plays a very different game. He just has a ton of random champions that he plays. He'll go to mid lane if need be, and he plays the Urgot top. Very unexpected pick there. And same for Nestea, like he's going with the Vigars. You know, he's flashed a couple of Vel'Kozes. I'm not sure if he's ever going to lock those in, but he's definitely someone that thinks outside the box.
With Nestea, I mean, a previous support main, it's got to be in there somewhere, right? Like,
yeah,
seeing the Bard has opened up our split, but we want more from Nestea. And for Deep Cross Gaming, you raise a really valid point. It has been standard recently. It has been, you know, something I didn't expect to say. Like Deep Cross Gaming, their story was always about the draft. And I don't know. I'm hoping we see something like that coming out of this game. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if we continue to see standard. Deep Cross Gaming versus Beyond as well for what's on the line. DCG are 8-1. If they win this, they move up. They tie with PSG Talon. On the other side, Beyond Gaming 7-3. If they win this, they move up to CDBC Flying Oyster. And CDBC Flying Oyster just took their second loss of the day. They also tie in with J Team. So, hey, whoever wins this, we are going to have a tie somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. And I do want to see someone catch up to PCG, but, you know, I do have a soft spot for Beyond Gaming. I've been with these guys at Worlds, and if you think that Husha has a much better haircut this split, it's because I recommended my stylist to him. So, you know, I'm contributing to Beyond Gaming.
Oh my god. Well done, Clement. I didn't know you I didn't know you had a stylist.
Yeah, I do. I have one that I work with for quite a while, and you know, like Husha was like, how do I make myself like more attractive? And he's like, well, you gotta stop taking these like 100 NT. That's, you know, we have places that give 100 NT haircuts. It's like $3, and
that's cheap.
It is really cheap. They're super fast too. They're 15 minutes, and sometimes I feel like they don't care if they cut your ear off. So, you know, I recommend him to go somewhere a little bit more fashionable, and I really like his bangs now.
Dude,
all right, completely off track.
You remember, I used to have that hairdresser in Shanghai, and that place, like, I used to pay 68 RMB for a shampoo and a wash, and they spent time about my hair. So I don't know, man. I just feel like anywhere that isn't Australia does better haircuts, because over here, dude, like, you pay literally. I'm trying to think about the conversion, because...
But don't you guys have, like, a lot of sheep to practice on? I'd imagine it's like...
a lot of sheep, yeah. Something like that. We have a lot of hairdressers. We have a lot of, like, hair salons, but, you know, you end up paying, like, 100 Australian, which I think is 20... Is that 2,500 NTD? It's 500 RMB. What's the equation?
I think it's about 4.45. The RMB's been rising recently, so... Right. So, yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot, dude. That's if you want something really good. If you want something like basic, like my haircut at the moment is very basic. That was 35 Australian. So,
damn,
that's like 20 US. Which people are gonna be like, oh, that's nothing. But for a haircut in Australia, yes, it is.
You know that haircut price you got is how much I get paid for like going to a university and giving a talk. And I need to prepare the talk and everything. I need to travel there. Like, oh man, like the government official pay rate is not very good for education.
Oh man. Well,
yeah, but I do it anyway. I want the next generation of esports to rise.
Oh hell yeah! This is going from hairdressing or haircut, where Husha gets his haircut, to my name is Clement, and I am going to do your university lecture. Thank you so much.
All right. I'll give you a haircut in exchange. That sounds about fair.
Oh, please.
It looks like we still have some difficulties here as they keep on, you know, taking off their headsets.
They, I guess they're going to go through this for a little bit longer, folks. So thank you for waiting with us. Our last game of the night, we had to have one, didn't we? We had to have one.
Yeah, just one. Looks like the players are, a little bit stressed out about that.
Okay.
But maybe we're going back into ban picks. Let's
Yeah,
go.
there we go. Okay, so start us off. Beyond and DCG, we did look at a jungle highlight. I think it's a good place to start considering that we do have big Lee Sin players. We talked about Xin Zhao also being in the shared champion pool, so I want to see if we get it banned out from Beyond on the red side.
I personally want to see DCG actually ban out Ahri. I feel like one of DCG's biggest weaknesses is tempo-oriented mid-jungles.
Yep.
And leaving that open does throw me a lot of question marks because for Beyond Gaming, I just feel like you split Lee Sin, Xin Zhao. You have one strong early jungle, and then you pick Ahri, and then you just try to take the game from there. That would be my strategy if I'm banning from Beyond Gaming. But he's taking a lot of sweet time here. You might be thinking about banning the Gwen is the interesting one because Leaky is very interesting in that he doesn't really play the standard stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think his standard stuff is actually all that spectacular. Like usually if I'm thinking about the strategy, I would ban Gwen here, but because it's Leaky, they're willing to leave it open and give it to Leon.
Okay, well, for DCG, that puts pressure then. It's like, okay, you don't want to play Gwen, but
okay,
I guess the bluff is fake.
Yeah, it's a good pickup here. I don't really see Hana taking this up, so it will go to Leaky. And the question is Liang gonna play Jace? I don't think so. I don't think Jace is a Liang champion that much. So it puts him in an interesting bind with both Graves and Tryndamere. Basically, his most played have been absolutely obliterated, and they ran the gambit, and it kind of failed.
Yeah, so you look at it as a response. Do you pick up Jungler instead then, get the priority, or do you just get an early top lane matchup? But remember, Clement, you give over jungle for this.
Yeah, they could pick up jungles still here, but it pretty much means that Ahri is probably going to be off the table.
Okay.
Would be my guess. They could still pivot. So let's say if DCG don't pick up their jungle here, then they can still save their jungle for later. Like they just want to trade between one or two of those. But Beyond Gaming are setting themselves up for more of an early game centric game plan. Okay, so the Xin Zhao goes here. You probably need to get the Lee Sin. If you don't get the Lee Sin, maybe the Volley Bear. Husha does play that as well.
Oh yeah.
But it will be a little bit difficult to lock in at least a one that can duel early on.
And I guess you already mentioned like early Ahri here or a strong 80 carry seems like a response, and Chris Carter's going to go for the Aphelios, so that means something like the Ahri is going to go. Excuse me, it's not actually Minji you're talking about. Getting a bit confused here, Clement. They're the ones that want to pick it up, and yet we get the Ahri. You were talking about good little find here. Does mean no support, no jungle for the side of Beyond Gaming, as DCG will start banning those away.
I have been really accurate at predicting what will not happen. I say it and it happens immediately right after this time. So I'm going to take some extra seconds to think through this draft here. We do have DCG. What mid lane goes well against Ahri? That's the big question here. We have seen some... I feel like you run the risk of just letting the opponent snowball if you go with traditional mages. So mages that don't have any mobility, your Victors, your Orianas. I feel like those are going to be fairly weak. But let's see what DCG can do in the draft, because if they take away Lee Sin, as we were mentioning, they take away the tier 1 junglers, then maybe they're willing to run into a bad matchup just because they have the Xin Zhao. So we'll see what happens right here. In BYG, in the meantime, they know this as well. They're trying to hard force Nestea to go on a traditional mages by banning away the LeBlanc and Galio.
Yeah, look, Ryze is taken away. We got the Galio, LeBlanc you just mentioned. Akali's banned as a flex, and even the Tryndamere is worth mentioning. So at this point, I guess you could Veigar, Clement, like that's what I'm thinking is still up and available.
Yeah, I was thinking about Veigar, but it was nerfed on this patch.
True.
And I still think it's really strong offensively, but I still think it still runs the same issues defensively against Ahri. It's just you charm flash and Veigar's just kind of dead. So we'll see what the picks are. DCG, as we mentioned, likely to ban away Lee Sin and Volley Bear. Those are the two junglers that can actually stand toe-to-toe against Xin Zhao.
Yep.
Not going to have either of them. And this is really the big pivot point. What mid laner are you going to play?
Okay, Nestea, is it going to be funky or is it going to be standardized? We already talked about things like Victor. Oriana's still there. Twisted Fate, something that, yeah, could influence the top side. Put your eggs in the basket, Leaky. So that for Nestea and Clement, we did talk about DCG. No fun drafts, no crazy drafts this time around. We still need a support, but I don't know. Would Renata work in this comp? Against the Leona, I guess it's okay.
I don't think Renata really works here. Leona's super hard to engage, and with a gank coming, Renata just dies, so she doesn't have a good time in that one. And also Jace plus Jinx just has way too much range, so I expect more engage coming out here, and indeed they go with the Nautilus. The Twisted Fate is interesting because the Twisted Fate actually has a lot of opportunities to trade gold card with Charm. You break the chain of damage coming in from Ahri, and he actually has a decently safe lane. For Beyond Gaming, I think after seeing the Twisted Fate, they are going to, step back from the precipice of going all in early game. We have seen them just go for Rek'Sai.
Yeah.
But because that matchup, I think it's not that easy to snowball against. They will go for something that has a bit more late game potential in the Viego.
Okay, so reset ability, Ahri, Viego, like both of these champions, even Jinx, right?
Yeah.
Every time a kill goes off, this comp gets more powerful. So Clement, look, there is a lot of burst. You talked about the early game agency. Walk me through a little bit closer as to what the comp does, because I do feel like picks become that much more valuable when you have 3 champions that benefit off someone going down.
Exactly. I do favor Beyond Gaming's composition just a little bit here. Okay. I feel like they have stronger lanes coming in early without jungle intervention, and they do have holistically, I think, a stronger identity with the reset composition that you're mentioning. On the other side, this is no bad composition from DCG either. It's a lot of familiar suspects in the Xin Zhao and the Gwen. It's a super strong team when it comes to the late game carry potential, and they should have good early game with Xin Zhao and Twisted Fate as well. The question just is which mid laner is going to dominate the map. If it's Ahri, then this game could be very one-sided. If it's Twisted Fate, it could go the other way as well. And I think we're just looking at Minji and Nestea, these two very peculiar mid laners that don't usually play the regular stock. And who will come out on top will decide the fate of this game.
That's right, and the fate of really the PCS standings, Deep Crops Gaming with a win, move up to tie with PSG Talent. But if BYG come out ahead, they'll tie with CDBC Flying Oyster and J-Team tied third. So the top 5 in standings will be so close. I think already, like, the top 5 of the PCS are very competitive. PSG Talent irking out ahead today, but we've had so many great games so far between these teams. Hoping this one delivers once again as we get onto Summoner's Rift. So Electrocute here in the mid lane for Minji. Unsealed Spellbook for Nestea. It is a level 1 here as Woody on his signature Nautilus heads in first, but as he spotted out, it's just a ward placed down to spot out where Beyond Gaming are going to be kicking off. I'd be worried here. Kino's on a ward. Oh my god, no. Dredge line coming through. Ignite as it falls down. It turns into a 5v5 at level 1, but look at the AoE from Beyond Gaming. Woody running in, flashes away immediately, but Beyond are going to have their cooldowns once again. That blast cone needs to be taken. The charm, instant cleanse away from Chris Carter. Woody now with no summoners. That bottom lane absolutely bludgeoned.
So taking stock of the situation, we have a triple sum for double sum exchange here, but there are different... yeah, just so much coming here for the Jinx level 1. I actually love the setup from Beyond Gaming, and I'm a little bit disappointed they weren't able to close off more with that one. No hard crowd control to make sure they lock down one target there. But I would say the trade isn't that bad overall for DCG, because they do open up 2 lanes versus 1 lane compared to Beyond Gaming. We have a very easy gank coming on to Ahri. In the meantime, Beyond Gaming can only focus on the bottom lane, that where we see Woody without the summoners.
Good little point you brought up. So yeah, Minji's Flash, comparing that one, and it is a gold card Twisted Fate. It is a Xin Zhao as well, so let's see how those options are opened up. There are deep wards, though, to spot out Hana here on the left side if he passed mid that way. Note that the right side, for now, is untouched. He's going to pass through. No pings going down, so not spotted out. Kind of guessing that Beyond Gaming's Husha is on this bottom side of the map. And is just currently hitting around with the Gromp. Clement, I want to also point out that in this game, with Kino burning the Flash, another opportunity kind of arises. So it's good that you brought up this comparison.
Yeah, it's a two-for-one trade in some senses. I think DCG, they should be able to chain this together. Some things that we have seen between Hana and Nestea is that Hana will just hard shut the lane. If he doesn't get a gank off, he's just like, okay, you're coming with me. We're going on a journey. And he'll just take Nestea to other lanes and create action that way. That's definitely a possibility, especially when you're looking at sort of like the post-6 potential here. You definitely want to use that flash advantage to control this lane. Oh, going in.
Yeah, and a little engage here, traps down as well. Dredgeline won't dismay this. Chris Carter flashed on by Wako. And first blood, gonna make it a second. Woody with one more hit, the rocket, the double Clement. The lane was already bad enough, and for Beyond Gaming, I guess, bot wasn't a bad option in the 2v2. As Husha sends away Hana, and now Beyond take over control.
We did see the two of them get to lane first, but that was just such beautiful play from Kino. Goes for the surround, and they chain the entire stun combo with the Flame Choppers. That's just beautiful to watch, and good synergy on the side of both players.
Clement 8 CS. Chris Carter has 8 CS. He's level 2. Wako was able to push and get a bit of turret plating, I believe. That's a 2-kill Jinx as we look at the replay, and I guess Summoner advantage did work out at the end.
It definitely did, and if you look at that exchange, it doesn't even seem like Wako really needed I think that was maybe that was a visual bug, but it seems like a micro flash coming in there. Wako does pick up the kill in the end. And that's going to change the calculations quite a lot, because once again, I feel like this bottom lane is just completely one-sided, and that means whenever Minji wants to roam, he will find the enemy underneath their tower. It's so easy for Ahri, especially I think red side Ahri, to tower dive blue side on this bottom side. You just kind of go behind the Krugs. You can actually just use your Spirit Rush across the Krug wall if you really want to, and get there super fast. There's not a lot that the enemy mid laner can do unless they're just willing to use gate on it.
I mean, Minji's almost level 6, so waiting for that point to come through. There's a Noon Quiver on the bottom lane as well. Wave pushing against Beyond Gaming to make it worse, but Hana's going to use this window to try and hit this mid lane. Remember, Minji still without his flash available. I want to see that EXP bar. How close is he to getting that ultimate? Is now getting tagged out, but the flash away from Nestea. After Husha presses his W, they don't follow up.
That's pretty interesting, because they could have gotten a little bit more done right there against Minji. Ooh, creepy.
Quick trade.
He's going to win out on that one. But Husha, because he was actually on the other side of Raptor Wall, they didn't know about his distance and assumed he must be very close by, and they just back out for that one. Just a good positioning from Husha to be there on the map as well. And this is just a defensive push in coming on the side of DCG right here. You're going up against Wako with 2 kills already. You're going to need some help to reset the lane.
Yep. But once he clears out that way, Wako will have himself about a 5, 6, 7 CS lead here in the bottom lane still. As the bot comes through, they want to stop it. And I believe that's Woody who was actually stopped from backing away, while Chris Carter finally goes and gets his Noon Quiver. So the support will stay in the lane in the meantime. Note that across the map, not too much to talk about in CS values apart from jungle. I'd even say top lane, like, Leaky versus Liang's going pretty well here for the Gwen.
Wow.
But Husha's 20 CS up just about here with a Sheen, and has already reset onto the map, going for his next clear.
That's pretty crazy when Hana's actually only done 1 gank so far this game. It just feels like the pressure in the bot lane has kind of forced him to play defensive. The only other time that we've seen him shown up outside his jungle is sort of that bot lane push in. So we'll see if Hana can catch up here, but of course Husha does have a sizable advantage. And this is going to be a very dangerous gank for Husha. We could see him walking forward to it and immediately backing off after seeing Hana show up on the pink right there. And he knows that Twisted Fate is out of vision. Definitely a possibility for a 3v2.
I want to pull out, though, while, it's complimenting Husha. Look at the top lane. Look, the top lane is just as meaningful. Leaky now with the Leeching Lair. And versus Serrated Dirk, he's having a great time. And honestly, this is why Gwen's banned in LPL all the time, in PCS. Like, Gwen, even against the people that are meant to counter her, still having a great time. Needlework is available too. And as Liang pushes this in, he's going to be down 17 CS. Or 18. Like, it's huge as a start here. And I guess, Clement, for DCG, they have a lane to play through in this top side.
Yeah, they could definitely switch to a 4-1 strategy and collapse with Twisted Fate onto him. So just playing like 2 lanes together is a very viable option for them going late. And that's why I was a little bit worried about the Jace. Jace is not a Liang champion. He does play a lot of fighters, but unfortunately, I don't think his mastery on Jace is really as high as some of his other champions. Ana, though...
yeah, just caught out here. That's a quick, easy reset if you need it. And into 2 people, Leaky, looks like he's not going to come down in time. Will get the scuttle grab, but with jungler down, you're in front of the Herald, just take it.
Yeah, beautiful collapse, right place at the right time from the side of Husha, and unfortunately Hana just got bursted down before he could do anything. Crescent's guard didn't help him there, he didn't interrupt anything, and it was too late to flash out too, so he just goes down, and that's very impactful as we see the Herald there as well. So yeah, I think in this game state, it's definitely just drop bot, make sure you have an open lane there, and you can kind of snowball off of how fed Wako is.
I mean, Clement, the kill also went to Liang. That was the one lane where DCG was stomping. And now for Beyond Gaming, that's going to make up the 30 CS disadvantage. Let's make it 20 after he picks this top wave up. It's going to be a very big deal here for Liang. And despite him not being the acoustics for Jace, not having it, or whatever the English I'm trying to say right now, it just feels like this is a great start for Beyond Gaming. A 1k gold lead overall. So many things going right. Bottom lane still dominating. For DCG, we need to see Chris Carter get that Destiny off again. Get off a really big ulti to start influencing maps.
Definitely need to, and we also need to see Nestea actually getting into the action with that Destiny Gate. It's always a pretty bad sign when you don't land your first Destiny Gate or you use it defensively. It's happened here. Very long cooldown, and we all know Twisted Fate has been nerfed over and over again just because of that map presence. And he is essentially a snowball champion. If he doesn't get the ball rolling early, it's very difficult to get him going again. We've talked about in the draft how this is going to be a mid-jungle-centric snowball game. And so far, Beyond Gaming has been winning that trade.
They have. Liang, though, going for the 1v1. Leaky wants to chase us up. Still no needlework used. The DCG top laner punishing down on Liang despite him getting the kill before. Camera will keep panning up there, so... Again, further to your point, Clement, we come back to what you were saying. Mid needs to be impactful. Jungle as well as a part of it. Now, Herald's still there. Husha hasn't decided on where to put it down. We've got so many options. And enabling Minji, or at least opening up bot further, it seems like Husha will be doing the latter.
Yeah, I just do anticipate it into the bot side. If you look at the minion wave right now, it is pushing out on the side of DCG. DCG are very afraid that the potential gank is coming. They definitely smell this from a mile away here. And we should just be seeing either kind of a... Yeah, they're going to force a contest here and see if Woody will come up.
Okay, Husha heading back though. Woody actually not going anywhere. Look at them, pivoting all the way back into the lane. As vision goes down, Minji even making the move, Clement. He has Spirit Rush available. We talked about his influence on this Ahri and what it could mean for the bottom lane. Even in Fog of War, the threat is great. Yeah,
it does force Hana down here. Ahri is one of those champions that's really good at ganking blue side bottom lane because she can go over these double walls without Blast Cone, without flashes. So it really does force Hana to kind of cover for his lanes a little bit. And you can see the pressure starting to seep elsewhere as Minji, knowing where the jungle position is going to have a good time in his own lane himself. He's starting to get back the CS advantage. Now Husha comes in.
Yeah, finally. Waited so patiently. Minji making the move. Remember, Destiny is available. It could be a 4v4 as Chris Carter just takes a massive shot. Great charm here onto Hana. And as the turret gets hit pretty hard by the Herald, that's just going to be first turret blood. As simple as that over to Beyond Gaming. A great early game and the patience that pays off as they're trying to set up Herald for another charge, but Wako isn't going to overstay.
Yeah, and this leads them to be able to swap their bot lane top and allow a very safe and elongated lane for Liang. So Liang, I don't know what happened in this matchup. Technically, it's a counter pick, but I just don't think Liang is that comfortable on Jace, to be absolutely honest. Did do very well in the laning phase. This CS discrepancy is rather massive, sitting around close to 40 CS deficit. So they are going to swap Liang toward the bot side, at least get him to pick up some more farm. And on the flip side, they will start to control Leaky and just make sure that he can't pick up his CS as easily here. But unfortunately, I think one of the small mistakes that they made is they didn't actually bounce the wave in the bot lane. I don't think the bot lane is actually going to bounce back. Well, we'll see after this one wave crashes if it does. But if it doesn't, then it means that Liang might be in a really rough spot.
True. Pick up the Gronk for now, looks like, or at least walk past it. So yeah, it's bouncing. Top wave, Beyond have a hard push here. There's another Herald spawning in a minute 20, so just clearing out some of the vision, it seems like, for now. As it's going to be a bit of a slower early game, folks. Beyond still have the control. They've got the Jinx and have the lane set up to their advantage. Clement, this has been a slower early game, and I'm really not surprised considering that Beyond haven't taken their foot off the, I guess, the slow accelerating vehicle.
Yeah, I think Beyond really surprised us by how strong their bottom lane just showed up to be here. Cascada, this was the man of the week for week 3 here, but still not getting any advantages in this lane itself, and it does look like we will have a rather easy Herald take here. We see the back here by Cascada. He still needs his mythic item. Wako's already sitting on his, so he can afford to stand here and just continue to push this wave in. In the meantime, Minji is doing something very sneaky.
Well, Leaky, though, going on top of Liang. That's even more sneaky in my eyes. Need to work, not used. Leaky just doesn't want to use the ultimate. Instead, forces out Liang simply with a quick duel. He'll be able to push up the wave as well. So, in front of Dragon, that's going to give some advantage, and no sneaky shenanigans were had on the rest of the map.
Yeah, at least for Liang's part, he does have sustain, so he's not too badly hit up by that one. He is going to go back to base and make sure he has a TP in case we do have a big Herald fight, but it doesn't look like DCG even want to contest this. They are in a very bad position, and they're going for Drake in this one. I don't think this is a favorable trade. They got faked out in the top side, thinking that Wako would go home and base, and instead Wako just stayed and is going to get a free tower here. Yeah. And they're also going to lose Herald, so the reset timing's not working out for DCG.
Easy Herald, easy second Herald. The turret plating is going to give 3k gold lead at max here to BYG. Dragon going to be traded for Deep Cross Gaming, but still, you're taking the gold trade at the moment, especially over to Wako, who's almost got the rapid fire cannon this early on. Leaky coming back here with a quick demolish. Gwen with demolish is going to be taking these turrets super quick, but Minji for a response, so DCG will stay turretless in this game at 15 minutes. And Clement, as we move into the mid-game, as we move into what has been a very slow game, can we talk a little bit more about the setup here for comps? Because we already mentioned how Beyond Gaming, there's lots of reset, poking them out. For DCG, as I look at this team, I'm still relying on Nestea as some of the setup for the side lanes, but he hasn't been using that ult aggressively. It's been one time it's used.
He actually used it twice, but both instances were defensive. So it still kind of illustrates the problem, Twisted Fate not getting off the ground fast enough. I think with this composition, the most common tactic you see is the pincer. There we go.
All right, well, that's a great ult usage. Leaky going to burn his ultimate, and he chases up Usher. He's actually over the wall. Remember, Ghost was popped a gold card. Unstoppable for now. Leaky's ulti is timed out, and he's going to get out with a flash. Look at the dashes here. This gold card once again. Still the dive continues, but Usher's going to make his way out, and DCG with their first kill of the game, while BYG has something bigger in mind.
Yeah, massive chase distance coming out from that combination. So what I wanted to say is, when you have a winning lane like you do in Leaky, you want him to push in, move down first, and usually what the enemy top laner has to do is they have to follow for the team. So that gives you a golden opportunity to catch out on the opponent top laner, and is a very common combo when you have a winning top lane like this one. Good execution there. And for the ensuing fights, they just want to run this over and over again. I think it's going to be hard to take down Wako. He's going to be very well defended. But Liang is a massive weak spot at this point.
Yep. Down, 40 CS now, 30. Minimizing a little bit here. Again, another slow early game. It feels like we are just going to be getting ourselves up for some of these big fights. Cascada, Wako. Right now, Wako is still leading the charge here. Ultimate comes out from Cascada. That'll give him some healing. And they just want to force him away from this tier 1. Wako trying so hard to take it down, but still good defense here from DCG. making the game go a little bit longer.
Yeah, that was a weird attempt coming in from Cryscala. I think he was just trying to clear the wave there. You could tell Beyond Gaming felt no threat. They knew the Destiny Gate cooldown was not up yet, so it was a very half-hearted engage. And they were willing to stand their ground, and you saw Kino even throwing down his ultimate for, I don't know, for morale purposes, I guess, and just trying to like scare away the enemy.
Morale purposes. I like it. I like it a lot. Next dragon, I'm just going to sit and wait for that, Clement. Baron's coming up as well. For our last game, you know, it's surprisingly slow to me because when I came into the league, when I guess joined PCS, the first game I did, as Herald gets dropped down, so it's going to be a big charge. That turret was bound to die anyway. They're going to look for inner. Was DCG, and as that shock blast comes through, there were explosive games. Minji coming over with the Spirit Rush. Finally, the action, Chris Carter blown up by Wako. And all of a sudden, Beyond Gaming just woke us all up and said, hey, we're going to keep going. That's an inhibitor turret down. Carter's next, they flash in range. What the hell, Clement? What?
They're looking to add.
That was the biggest 0 to 100. Nothing was happening until everything was happening. In front of the Nexus turrets, Beyond going forward. It's 19 minutes in the game. This was even. This was an even game. Here comes the needlework from Leaky. He's stunned up. The final piece hits through the gap. And as a gold card lands, a charm doesn't. I just don't know how it changes so quickly. Good poke coming through. Kino's still alive. Red card will silence him down. Picking any card will take him. Clement, I don't care. Beyond Gaming just sped that up.
Yeah, a beautiful play from them. Getting 2 towers inhibitor and multiple kills right off the bat there. They got 1 shockwave from Valiant. Even though he's been behind the entire game, he's still a Jace against an AD carry. So it gets a lot off there. I think the key thing was really Wako. Wako was willing to just flash forward to ensure those kills. Once he got the turret down, he got the extra boost of speed, moved forward, mowed Cryscala down. He did nothing that fight. We'll watch it again as they get the first charge. You can see the get excited movement speed. And this is really the key. As they take down the second tower, he gets the extra move speed to chase down Cryscala, even though Minji kind of misses everything. You can see here, Wako just goes in, is a complete menace. They get the first kill, and then they go in for more. As I think we'll be returning to a fight here.
Yeah, we're returning for a setup at least. We've already sped things up. Why don't we go a little bit more? A late TP was used by Leaky, so this time he has to start joining the fight. As into the backside, that's Nestea, but his angle's going to be direct. He doesn't have a Destiny's Gate. And his Dragon's getting hit away. It's DCG who are on top of it. The Smite going to come through. They secure, but look at the burst coming through. Beyond Gaming in a group, and they're going to disengage. Needlework, again, not hitting a mark. Husha low, but Minji's going forward. 1 more Spirit Rush available. The Shock Blast doing work. Woody goes in, but the rest of his team not on the same page, and that means Wako gets reset as Minji again. Another Spirit Rush. Nestea is next as the rapid fire cannon is all that is needed. Going golden as Nestea buying time, but Husha rejoins while at the base. Beyond Gaming weren't mucking around. You drop your guard for 1 second, and BYG are going to be knocking on the doors. Leaky next, the Charm, the Everfrost. I guess they wanted us to go to bed, but for Beyond, they can't finish it yet. And the Nexus may be exposed, but DCG hold on.
Woody with a critical mistake right there. This is a great chase down comp from Beyond Gaming. You cannot do these willy-nilly turnarounds and hope to just sacrifice or pick someone off. You have to be very committed, or you have to plan out 2 or 3 steps in ahead. And they just didn't do that. They gave the takedown to Minji. Minji was able to charge forward with another dash, and Wako was able to chase up again. So I just feel like DCG, once they didn't get the first initial salvo, once they didn't get a decisive fight, they needed to back out completely. They couldn't do a half-hearted walk away.
Game Clement, break this down because we're all over the place.
Yeah, like Leaky is incredibly powerful right here, but unfortunately I think Hana messed up the Crescent Guard a little bit. He wanted a knockback on the Crescent Guard, only got a sideways block here, and this is so smart from Beyond Gaming because they know they can chase. They get extra dashes every time a takedown happens, and Wako gets extra speed. So they're just willing to move in even with lower HP bars, and Wako does a beautiful 200 IQ play, focusing on 2 spots at the same time and picking up both kills. Now he has the Infinity Edge, he has the range, and I have to say this, but Twisted Fate really has not done anything this game. Nope. This is a very quiet game from Nestea.
I mean, Leaky actually caught out here as well. Look, Nestea's ulti coming through. He's on the back line, but they turn on him. Minji's over the wall as well. Look at the mobility. But Beyond Gaming is spread out. In goes Hana again. Leaky's ultimate great this time. It gets Wako. The 80 carries down, and Beyond Gaming are running scared. Orb Deception doing nothing as Shock Blast is good. Witty missing the dredge line. Kino now caught out on the wrong side. It's only a support, and Leaky will take his fill. DCG in front of Baron. And as they lens this one through, they know that Beyond Gaming are outnumbered.
But there is still a lot of poke from Beyond Gaming. This is going to hurt if they stay. And the base is also potentially open here.
I mean, Minji doesn't have teleport. Neither does Liang. So they have to run it down. Liang is going to take the mission. The agent turns around and thinks,
they just need to keep them here.
I'm not James Bond. Liang comes back in. Baron's gone. And the minions are doing it all. Baron recalls their Minji. No Spirit Rush available.
Oh, the inhibitor comes up.
And the inhibitor saves the day.
That was very close. It would be very easy for Beyond Gaming to just constantly harass and let the minions finish off the job. But well played by DCG there. They withstand everything, and huge props to Kriskata. That 4-man grabbed him across the wall, set up Leaky perfectly. Everything was aligned, needlework going through multiple targets. And that just saved them. I think, unfortunately for Beyond Gaming, they were a little bit too cavalier on Minji's approach right there. Just going through directly with his ultimate onto a support was probably not the play.
No, and I know we'll get a quick flashback at that because for DCG, that's kind of their first window in this game. After everything went wrong in the early game with Beyond taking control, I should say, from Husha's angle, like this is now starting to look a lot more even than we've let on. So replay again, Clement. Beyond Gaming split.
Yeah, Leaky is way too tanky of a target. He still has the ability to dodge out on most abilities. And this is so good from Kriskata. Gets the 4-man across the wall, instantly blowing up Wako.
No. Might not matter as Beyond Gaming are taking the side. Woody deep. Solar Flare as well. Minji with the Spirit Rush over the wall. That'll give him yet another. Clement, Woody may have just given an opening.
It might be a little bit more than an opening.
Might be the engage. A stolen dredge line from Husha. Again, Beyond Gaming have been at this point. Leaky is a Gwen, but in front of 5 people, how is he not dead? Nestea with his ulti up and available. Gold card onto Husha. Beyond a 2 low as the splash from Kriskata kills Minji because Husha decided to flash. Oh my god, Clement. It's an open Nexus again, but Beyond Gaming won't be there to take it.
This is an ace for 2 members on the map here. Oh, actually, Woody even survives all of that. Surprisingly enough, I don't think we've seen such a rugged defense coming from any team in the PCS up to this moment. We're going to watch that again.
Okay, no, we're not. No, we're not. Forget it, Clever. You don't get that.
Yeah.
You have to pay for that.
They have to keep Leaky away at this point. Leaky is so incredibly fed with his items. That Cosmic Drive is going to give him the movement speed to just chop down. And there are no tanks on Beyond Gaming. Support tanks don't really count. They're there for engage, but they don't bear damage.
Yeah,
so
right.
It looks pretty good at the start here. Beyond Gaming basically annihilate Woody. Once again, Minji not having the best of aim with his charm, but is able to get the engage because Woody just steps in a really odd position. So he does go down in that. Game's very early. I just forgot how fast this game actually is.
That's it.
And this is the 5v4. Let's watch Leaky as he approaches this. Pops a hulled miss further back and then just goes straight beeline for Wako. Liang unable to knock him back. I don't see where he used that necessarily, but the chase down is there for Nestea to finish.
It's just hilarious watching this Clement. Beyond the second time, going all in for the mid lane. The Nexus is now exposed again, but DCG defending. You keep mentioning Gwen, and I'm right on that path with you. Leaky is level 16. He's a 3.5 item Gwen. Open Nexus, be damned. Beyond Gaming need other ways to break into the base, want to add more pressure, and inner turret towards the top side is how they begin.
At this stage of the game, we also have to remember there is a possibility for a single ward to end the game. There are no Nexus towers, so if there's a deep ward drop, TP by Liang will just finish. And it's actually very hard to prevent that from happening if Minji is just willing to kind of dive bomb. So right now, DCG, I think they're not going to go for super aggressive plays until their inhibitor is up at the very least. They probably need to wait for that, or else we could see Liang and Minji, they could just wait in the jungle, flash over the base gates, and go right for the Nexus.
I like that DCG have got that line of scrimmage of wards at least. Beyond Gaming the same, just on the outskirts you can see throughout the map around the base. And for DCG, I'm not sure how long we have on that inhibitor, but Baron's coming up in a minute 20, so for Beyond Gaming, they can play with them a bit, toy with them, pull them into this objective. I'd even say the Infernal Dragon, which could be Infernal Soul for DCG, something that they definitely want to fight for. All these objectives dangerous, and for Beyond Gaming, an opportunity to try and put the final nail in the coffin for third time's a charm.
The big trial for them is definitely going to be the Baron. It comes up much sooner than the Infernal Soul, and this area is completely covered in Beyond Gaming wards. Maybe outside of that spot. That spot could be, but look, we're putting some, some hints here and there. That ward could be the huge difference here. It will allow Leaky to teleport in and find a flank potentially. So we'll keep a close eye on it. But Baron is definitely going to be the most dangerous objective for BCG. They need to guard their base. They have to make sure that no one's going to sneak in from the bottom side, so they can't fully commit to Baron. And there's also a ton of vision obstacles going in that side. I have to say that it feels almost a little bit easier to give up on the Baron and just wait for the Infernal plus the inhibitor coming from DCG.
Minji just walks into brush near base. Spirit Rush available. That Dreadline mistimed from Woody. Here comes Leaky with his ulti. He's still running forward. Almost tags Minji, but Beyond have been pulled into this play. Wako knocked up. Beautiful from Hana. And Minji calls this. Beyond decided to die with him.
I'm at a complete loss of words there. What was Minji doing?
Okay, well, look, backdoor.
Oh, here we go. The TP's coming in.
Okay, well,
Minji
may have almost thrown it away, but let's see if he can win it for them. The backdoor beginning. Leaky's taking his own way back, though. He doesn't have needlework, and you're right, there's two members there. DCG can keep doing the Baron, and forget the backdoor. The inhibitor's up again. They have to run for their lives. Oh my god, Clement, I can totally see Beyond Gaming losing this game.
That was such a weird play. I don't understand why Minji needed to risk that. If they just took the Baron, like, I don't even think DCG would contest. I honestly feel like DCG would have given them the Baron for free in this situation. But now they get to swing around into the Infernal Soul with the Baron available here. So just a head scratcher of a play. Oh no.
Beyond tried to save him, Clement.
Yeah, I just don't think Beyond should do this at all. They might think that they have a lot of damage from Wako, but 80 damage and Leaky damage are not the same thing.
No, they are not. It's really starting to become an issue. Clement, DCG are moving to Infernal Soul. There is a ward in the base, but I need to see. Liang has TP. That's the AD user. Everyone's coming out of base with this Infernal Soul. Nestea's popping the ulti. They want to fight for the play, but remember, Liang's TP could be game-changing as long as he can get away.
Yeah, but he also has to take on the inhibitor, though, so that's a big hurdle. I think Beyond Gaming have to just fight this in a standard manner, try to get some poke off, but here comes the flash.
Flash gold card. Onto Minji again. Liang with a poke down. That ward is being spotted out. Remember, inhibitor is what Clement said, but there's a Baron enhanced recall. As DCG, this will be Infernal Soul. Beyond Gaming backs against the wall. Ulti comes through. Stolen. Husha keeps it going. Solar Flare used as well. Onto the backline. Cameraman, zoom out. Leaky is bullying down Liang, and Beyond Gaming are losing members. That steal may have cost them more than just their life. It may have cost the base and everything in between.
They have to keep their members alive, but Wako is going down. Leaky finds another one.
You know what? Run to the base. Liang still sitting on the side. Poke good, but DCG this is where the push comes through.
Yeah, they have this first tower down. I am getting a little bit of freeze.
That's okay, dude. Clement, bottom side's getting pushed in, and I can tell you that DCG might be trying to look for an end here. Beyond Gaming don't have Waka for another 20 seconds. 10 for Kino, 5 for Husha. Nexus tower getting hit, and this comeback would be massive. DCG have now opened up the Nexus. It's exposed, and when Beyond Gaming sat in this game comfortably, we thought it was all theirs, but DCG with the comeback, the exposed Nexus 2 times, the attempted backdoor. Forget that. DCG still bring it all the way.
Beyond Gaming, they take down both Nexus towers at 18 minutes in the game, and somehow DCG hang on for another 15 minutes to come back and win it all. I thought this game was like a 22-minute game coming in from the side of Beyond Gaming. Nestea did absolutely nothing in the early game. The bot lane was a disaster, and Leaky carried them to the point where they could actually find a win. We have to, you know, honestly, it's Minji just throwing the game was also a huge factor right there. I just don't know what he was doing in that one. It was a free Baron. There's no other way you could look at that. It was just completely free objective, and you can push in with an open inhibitor and an open base. But I just think he played it way too hastily. He could have waited. He didn't have the patience, and he just wanted to go right then and right there.
Steal of the Infernal Soul, and it cost Beyond Gaming so much in this final moment.
Yeah, I feel like Beyond Gaming, they needed to understand that if they got this, everyone needed to come down. Nautilus doesn't need to be there. A Wako should not be auto-attacking the minion wave. I felt like they lost a sense of urgency. They thought they were already safe, but that just wasn't the case.
Yeah. I literally can't believe it. I cannot believe that DCG won that game. Beyond Gaming, like, that was in the bag. That was, oh my god. So there's a lot of questions. Minji Zari, you know, costing them a couple of fights. Clement, I don't know, like, there's a lot we can blame. Where do you want to start? Because I think criticism has to go out. Has to go out. Losing a game like phase,
that. So we'll start here. I actually like Beyond Gaming's draft. I feel like their draft has a lot more outs, much stronger. Has the poke comp. But the big thing is just their IDs. I don't think they wanted to give the Gwen for Jace Gambit. That Gambit for me was very sus, and I'd rather give the Rise over. Like, I don't mind giving Nestea Rise. Sure, he's good on the Rise, but it's still a champion that functions very similar to most control mages, and you can just kind of target it out with the Ahri, which you're trying to snowball anyway. So I feel like I would drop the Rise and ban the Gwen. That would make a much even level playing field. And yeah, I think if you go from there, then most of the Leaky heroics don't really happen in the later part of the game.
True. I mean, the Gwen pick, you pick it up yourselves, or at least ban it away. I think there's been so many cases where Gwen left open wins games. Like Gwen, you get to 25-30 minutes, Gwen wins games. Also, you know, a shout out when Wako had such a good game, and then we get to 25 minutes after that whole open base, and the whole of Beyond Gaming shot calling doesn't mean a thing if the Jinx is so far ahead. Like, I don't know. There's a lot to criticize there. I think for Beyond Gaming, man, look over that yourselves. Deep Cross, though, I'm proud of Leaky. I think Nestea's ultis weren't too amazing, but still added a lot of pressure. And Hana on this Xin Zhao, like, did a lot of work himself too. So
look at this.
They get respect. Oh my god.
Totally ridiculous. I have to say, Beyond Gaming is probably J-Team's best friend. In order to wipe away the memory of J-Team throwing a 6,000 gold lead, Beyond Gaming has decided to throw a 6,000 gold lead by them of their own. This is, you know, true brotherly love being showcased right here. Another big factor is we just didn't see the Viego reset to anything in these team fights. Very difficult to execute to begin with. Not a lot done, unfortunately, and I think that is a huge problem for them. I think it'll showcase it in a lot of the team fights they were sort of on the back foot running away with members already dead, especially in the last 2-1. So, these reset comps can be very finicky. If you are on the losing end, then you can't access a lot of your champion's powers. And that's why, reset champions are so, they haven't been really popular until today. Of course, our MVP going over to Leaky.
Yeah,
I have talked a lot of shade on Leaky. I said that, I frankly didn't think he was like the top tier top laner. He just got a lot of help from Ana. He's starting to change my opinion. I can't deny with the facts that he has such amazing laning stats, and he might really be the hidden gem of this team.
I was saying at the start of the segment, Clement, like he's been solid. He's been really solid here, and it's not even working into the split. I think from the start, Deep Cross's gaming top laner hasn't been talked about because one, he's been playing mid in certain games, and two, this team has been about Nestea and like development of Chris Carter with his first split, Woody being a core engaged with this team. Leaky, probably the least talked about member. Here on the Gwen, a great game, but not just that. It's consistently good stuff from this guy. That's it. I can't believe we finish on that. That is just hilarious. DCG fans rejoice because now they're sitting 9-1. We'll have a look at standings in a second. But today was actually a massive day setting up the standards because PSG Talon, Deep Cross Gaming, both now tied. Big win streaks at the top of the table, and some of the favorites from the start of the split have moved down into that little third, fourth, fifth bubble.
CTBC, they are getting a huge shock to their system. They can't coast on laning phase. They need to come in with compositions that they actually practiced. I think that's kind of evident in their playstyle, is that sometimes they don't really know how to pilot some of these comps that require them to think about macro a little bit differently. PSG, the biggest victor of the day. Strong, solid games against strong, solid teams. Nobody can fall for that. And Megabank is showcasing that, hey, maybe they're not ready to go into the top 4. Again, clinging out to that 5 position. They fixed some of Minji's comps. They have not fixed their macro.
They have not. Beyond a lot of questions there. Next to J-Team, who we had the same of before today. But coming through, if you want to know what's coming up tomorrow, Clement, PSG versus DCG. We get the other half of the topside matchup. That'll be the battle for first. Honestly, after seeing PSG today, I do think they're the stronger team, but who knows what happens tomorrow.
Our first 3 games are absolutely stacked. All of these teams are playing on the top half of the bracket. So I think that's where I would definitely throw my attention at. DCG versus CFO is super interesting because if DCG win, not only do they claw back the loss earlier in the split, they actually send CFO on a 0-3 losing streak. And we have seen these mentality breakdowns happen mid-split, and they could keep it up all the way to playoffs if they're unlucky.
True, dude. I mean, DCG after today, you got to feel good. Like that's mentality boosting from what we just saw. Being able to come back from that is absolutely massive. So feels pretty nice here as, guys, welcome to the PCS. Feels like everything's so close, but we are getting towards the end of the split. We do have tomorrow, and then only 2 more weeks to go before things round out. And Clement, at that point, all I can say is, at that point, we should have an understanding of a clear top 3. I do feel like at the moment, DCG, CFO, and PSG feel like the top 3 front runners. But again, CFO being tested at the moment, so I don't know. I'm actually not sure, and that's, I think, not being sure is a good sign.
It definitely is. The greatest thing about this split for me, 2022, there are no gods, but there are many kings, and they're all vying for the throne. And that's the fun part about it. You don't really know who's going to come out. It was so obvious in previous splits. It was kind of boring. When it was like written in stone, the PSG forward or J teams, but this time around, there's 3 JTs to choose from, and PSG is still there.
That's right, dude. 3 different, the Bermuda Triangle of J teams at the very least. Clement, it's been a pleasure with you again tonight here on the PCS. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. We will be back tomorrow. Those top 3 games, the first 3 games, I should say, are bangers, so you don't want to miss those. It is bye for now, but not forever. We'll see you tomorrow.